What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here, bringing you another Duel Masters video. I've got another deck profile for you guys today, but first I want to go over a few updates. It looks like November 19th and 20th, that weekend, that Saturday, Sunday, is when I will be getting back home, and hopefully by the end of the day on the 20th, that Sunday, we should hopefully have a couple Duel videos recorded, and I will try to upload them periodically starting then. The updates will get a lot more regular. Instead of 2 a week, I'm going to try to do 3, maybe more, depending on how many videos we actually get together, so that we can get all of those to you by Christmas break. And then after Christmas break, we can record some more and have some more out to you guys. So, yeah, looking at getting those videos to you guys here in the next 2 weeks or so. Um, Like I said, I'm still here in college, so I won't be getting home until then, but you guys can expect to see them within the next week and a half. I know we're getting close, and I've been getting a lot of questions about them, but they are coming, don't worry. Next is question and answer segments. On Pojo, I've been talking to Player Man, and shout out goes to you, man. You've been very helpful in spreading the word around and showing me a few things as well, the Facebook page and a few other things. But looking at getting a question and answer segment together, I'm thinking of making it more of just a discussion segment. You mentioned, or he mentioned on the Pojo something about getting, I guess it's like a TCG versus OCG segment together, just talking about the current meta in both cases, the differences between their meta and ours, like what we have, what they do, what we don't do, their ban list and restricted list, whereas we don't have one. Just comparing the metas, really. So I thought that was a great question, and that could definitely take up a ton of time to talk about if we really wanted to get in depth with it. But just as well, like before I do a video like that, I'd like to hear some more questions from you guys. If you guys want to leave some comments down there, I mean, questions about anything, just whatever you can think of that you would want to ask me or my friends who are going to be in the videos as well, who are going to play CBH, and a few others who you'll meet once we start getting the videos up in the next 2 weeks. So, gotta start thinking of some questions, and as soon as I get enough, and as soon as I can find about an hour or so worth of material, I'll just make a really long video and just discuss everything and go over all the topics that you guys submit to us. So yeah, get to thinking, guys. I'd like to do something like that maybe over Thanksgiving break when I'd have more time to actually sit down and write material for it and come up with answers and answer them all on video and all that. So let me know, guys. Um, Finally, I'm going to do a Let's Play video. I recently got the ROM for Duel Masters Shadow of the Code, and I think I'm going to play through that. It'll give you guys some more insight on dueling. I mean, it's a Duel Masters game, and it's about the card games, so, and it goes all the way up to the 9th set, I believe, 8th or 9th set, and it's got all the cards, and I mean, it's just a really comprehensive game, and I've enjoyed playing it, and I still play it since I don't have anybody to play Duel Masters up here with. I just play against the computers on that game since they're pretty intuitive, and the game's just really good as far as testing certain decks and just coming up with strategies and stuff like that. So it's really nice, and I think now that I have the ROM for it, I can show it to you guys and start getting a Let's Play video segment together and complete that game, hopefully, and show you guys what that's all about. Alright, but the deck that I have for you guys today is Survivors. This follows the aggro path a little more. I know I went over Zebrafish aggro last week, which is more of your standard aggressive deck. It's got its key setups. This deck takes a little more of a snowballing per se. It takes a little bit to get started up, but once you start getting the effects rolling, it's really, really hard to stop this deck. So let's go over that. Let me show you guys that list, and that'll be it for today. Let's take the laptop to work. Alright. I'm going to go over all the survivors that make up the deck first, and then we'll go over the rest of the support cards for the deck. First, we have Blazosaur Q. All survivors have Q in their name, that's how you know they're a survivor. And they also have survivor in their race. But all survivors get the abilities of all of your other survivors on the field. So our main two survivors are Blazosaur and Smashhorn Q. These guys are your power-up guys, they're cheap, they're effective, and they really just support the rest of the deck as a whole. Smashhorn gives all of your other survivors plus 1,000 power, and Blazosaur gives all of your survivors plus 1,000 power while attacking. 2 mana, 3 mana, they're usually your first and third, or your second turn and third turn creatures that you would play down. Next we have Rumblesaur Q. He gives the survivors really sped up, I guess per se. He gives all of your survivors speed attackers, which is very useful, especially when I show you some of the more the ability of Ripple Lotus Q in a little bit. He lets you get that ability start going really fast, and once you have Rumblesaur on the field, you can pretty much drop 3 speed attackers in a turn using a card called Factory Shell Q, which I'll go over later. But Rumblesaur really just supports the whole speeding the deck up, and it's something that survivors really don't have. And otherwise, since it takes so long for them to get started up, Rumblesaur just kind of jump starts the whole process. Next we have Bladerush Skyterror. Gives all of your survivors Double Breaker, including even the weenie guys. I mean, giving everything Double Breaker can be very potent late game. He's your main finisher. If you drop him, everything's a Double Breaker, and you just start swinging through his shields. All what would take you 6 attackers now only takes you 3. So Bladerush really good at finishing the game up, and I mean he's just a big threat in general. One of the key cards for survivors is Factory Shell Q. Factory Shell Q lets you, whenever you put a survivor into the battle zone, search your deck for another survivor and put it into your hand. If you have Factory Shell Q out with Rumblesaur, when you play a Blazosaur, search your deck for Blazosaur. Play that Blazosaur, search your deck for another Blazosaur. Play that Blazosaur, search your deck for, I don't know, Bladerush Q. Now you've got a Factory Shell of Rumblesaur and 3 Blazosaurs on the field, and everything can attack that turn that you summoned it. So drop Bladerush on the field next turn, now you've got another Double Breaker speed attacker, and it's a hell of a combo to go from one turn to the next, from having 2 cards on the field to 4 and everything being a Double Breaker. So really potent. This card is crucial to the synergy for survivors. He really makes the whole deck work. Without him, survivors really wouldn't be what they are. Next we have Ripple Lotus Q. Ripple Lotus says whenever you put a survivor into the battle zone, you may tap one of your opponent's creatures. Now this is amazingly useful at clearing the field, something survivors have a really difficult time with. Since the survivors struggle to get really big, they need cards like Smashhorn to make themselves bigger than most threats, but even so, most of your survivors have really weak attacks. Ripple Lotus at 2,000, Factory Shell at 2,000. I mean, our finisher, Bladerush, is only at 5,000, so they're really weak comparative to the rest of the metagame. And Ripple Lotus lets you tap your opponent's creatures and kill them before they have a chance to do anything to you, especially using Blazosaur's plus 1,000 power attacker. Since those creatures aren't going to get that 1,000 power permanently, Ripple Lotus lets you tap your opponent's creatures and kill those creatures before they can come back and kill yours once they're weaker. So again, really useful in the whole synergy for the deck. This deck is also red-blue-red, or red-blue-green, like the aggro deck you saw from Zebrafish, but again, it's using survivors. It's more offbeat of an aggressive deck. It takes a little longer to get started up than most aggros, like I said, but it runs the same 3 types still. The only card that it runs different, and these are the only 2 light cards in the deck, are 2 Zohls. Survivors have a very, very difficult time beating Rush and other aggro decks, because since survivors take so long to get started, unlike your standard aggro deck or a Rush deck, they have a very difficult time dealing with the opponent's threats. I had to have a drink. Have a very difficult time dealing with the opponent's early threats in the game, and using Zohl as he's a survivor that gives all of your other survivors blockers, can pretty much put it sets up a wall in front of the opponent that a lot of Rush decks can usually deal with one or two blockers at a time, but when the whole field is blockers, thanks to Gallia Zohl, you can almost always shut down a rush deck, and then in turn bring out Ripple Lotus and just start annihilating the opponent's field. So, since they are the only two light cards in the deck, you might think that they may be a little hard to get out, but using the card Soulswap, Gallia Zohl's actually really easy to bring out. Once you get to 4 or 5 mana, if you have a Gallia Zohl in your mana zone, just switch them out with some other card, maybe one of your Blazosaurs or something else that you're not going to use. Alright, let's get to the rest of the support for the deck. From Fire, we have our shield triggers, Phantom's Dragonflame, and Burst Shot. Really just weenie removal, again, getting rid of any threats such as, your Aqua Hulcuses, other rush cards, and other standard just creatures that the opponent's going to play, such as Creel, Aqua Surfer, just anything that really you just need to get rid of in order to protect your creatures. And again, shield triggers, anti-rush, works perfectly. Our major kill spell for the deck is Apocalypse Vise. Again, you saw that with the control, destroy any number of your opponent's creatures that power a total of 8,000 or less. So get rid of your opponent's bigger threats like Twin Cannon, Volmidius, Crazed Valkyrie, all the big threats that you're going to see in the metagame that the deck otherwise can't destroy. So Apocalypse Vise gets rid of those guys. Now we have Nature, and that's going to come in the form of 3 Bronze Arm Tribe, just a little bit of a mana excel. Most of our synergetic cards for survivors are 6 mana or 7, such as Rumblesaur, Factory Shell, Ripple Lotus, and Bladerush. And Bronze Arm Tribe just helps you get up to that mana level a little quicker, so you can start really getting the synergy for survivors going on. Next, we have Soulswap. Soulswap is, again, anything that runs nature and uses cards that, such as, just anything that runs nature outside of Rush needs to run Soulswap. Soulswap is just pure, it's the definition of synergy. It makes everything work around itself. You can throw something in mana that you would want to have later in the game and immediately get it back with Soulswap with almost zero repercussion to yourself. Soulswap is an amazing card in that aspect, and it's one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. Now we get to Water, and it's going to be 2 Aqua Hulcuses, and 4 energy streams. This is your draw power for the deck. I use 4 streams versus the body for Hulcus, because with survivors, using Factory Shell Q, he will let you sort of get a hand, technically, since you're searching survivors from the deck to the hand. And Energy Stream is just, I like the +1 that Energy Stream can grant you. It can help you run through the deck a little faster and get what you need for survivors, which is really crucial for the deck. And Aqua Hulcus just provides a standard body. I don't think it needs to be running 4 with this deck, just because there's other major 3-turn creatures that you're going to want to use more or less, like Bronze Arm Tribe and Smash Horn, getting your survivors rolling as quickly as possible. And Aqua Hulcus is helpful, but he's not necessary. So, if I could run 6 energy streams, I would, but since I can't, I'm 2 Hulcus. My blockers for the deck come in the form of 3 Hunterfish and 2 Thrash Crawler. Hunterfish is just my weenie blocker for early in the game, offset any rushes or aggros that want to start breaking the shields a little earlier that I wouldn't want to let happen. And Thrash Crawler, again, provides getting back anything from the mana zone that I want to put down early that I might need back later. And he provides that blocker to, again, block off bigger threats that Hunterfish really couldn't get rid of himself. And Soul Swapping and Thrashes is always a good thing. Soul Swapping Thrash and then get something else from your mana. It's more synergy, more consistency that it just adds to the deck. And I like 2. I don't think I need any more than that. And frankly, I don't like Thrash Crawler at 1. I know CBH was talking about Thrash Crawler, how you only need 1. And since I have Soul Swap, I can use them a lot more. But Soul Swap is going to be something that I want to swap in survivors probably more than I would want to do Thrash, so I run 2. And Thrash usually ends up in the mana anyways, so drawing into another one's never a bad thing. The last water card I use is Aqua Surfer. 4 of them. Again, anti-rush. It's good spot removal for when need be. Like if I don't have Ripple Lotus out yet, use Aqua Surfer, bounce something, or just get something out of the way that could prove a problem, as in destroying one of my survivors, or just getting rid of a creature that I need to get rid of for a short amount of time, until I can draw into an answer to deal with it. And Surfer again gets rid of blockers and stuff that when I might want to swing for game if I have Bladerush out on the field, and a few other things that are ready to attack. Drop Surfer, remove a threat, such as one of a bigger blocker, and then start swinging into shields. So he's useful in a bunch of aspects, and again, he's a card that just kind of defines aggro for the deck. So I like 4. I'll run almost 4 Surfers in anything that runs water outside of a rush deck. So the final card for my Survivor deck is 2 Windax. Again, Windax, pure and simple definition of aggro. Destroy a blocker and add 1 card from the top of your deck to your mana zone. I explained him in the Zebrafish video. He's just too good not to use. He lets me get up to my 6 mana without actually having to play mana on my 6th turn, or maybe getting to 7 if I want to drop Bladerush earlier. So Windax just provides that extra little push in the mana zone. And again, it gets rid of pesky blockers that are going to get in the way, since survivors are something I'm going to want to try to break shields as often as possible with, so that when the time comes I can drop Ripple Lotus or drop Factory Shell, dump out a bunch of survivors really quick and swing for game. So Windax just kind of pushes that whole strategy along, getting rid of blockers and adding to the mana zone. And that's survivors in a nutshell, guys. Leave a comment in the comment box. Let me know what you think of the deck, and just as well, ask me questions about anything future that you would want to see. If you guys have a deck type maybe that you want me to cover, let me know about that. And also, I guess this weekend I'm going to try to get the first video up for the Let's Play, the Duel Master Shadow of the Code video game. And I guess I'll have that for you probably on Saturday. So let me know what you think, guys. Leave a comment, leave a like, so people can find this video. And tell your friends and let them know that I'm out here and I'm doing this. Alright guys, thanks so much. Peace.